Thank you. Representative Dunn.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Roundtree, in my district, Florida State University recently established a Center for Rare Earths, Critical Minerals, and Industrial Byproducts. Now, FSU is also the home to the National Magnet Lab. I'm sure you're familiar with your business. These are very special high-power magnet labs. They exceed field strengths of 30 Tesla. Recently, they've been researching and reporting on separating rare earths, critical minerals, not all of them, but something like 24 of them, from the tailings of old burned-out phosphate mines. These are phosphate mines that haven't been used in decades, but the tailings are still there, and they just reprocess them with magnets instead of chemical processes and smelting. Are you familiar with this process at all?
I am not familiar with that process. I am familiar somewhat with the companies that are trying to do that. And, this is another alternative, right, where we can take tailings and basically rework those to provide some of the mineral supplies that are critical here in the U.S.
Either of you gentlemen familiar with that process? It's new research, and I mean, I don't know much about it myself.
I am, sir. In general, the principle of extracting critical minerals of various types, including rare earth elements from industrial byproducts, it's interesting technology. The challenge is that in many cases, the concentration of the rare earths in these byproducts are in the hundreds of parts per million versus in the ground at Mountain Pass, the second largest rare earth mine in the world, it's 60 to 80,000 parts per million. So the amount of stuff you need to move to get what you want to process becomes challenging, and that's where these advanced processing technologies like that you referenced come into play. And I do think it's an interesting area where we should continue to.
I was interested in it. So and maybe Mr. Evans, you could answer this. Can you see how companies like yours might benefit from public-private partnerships with academia, institutions like FSU that do research in these areas?
Yes, sir. We're actually working with the University of Nevada at Reno. We work with Colorado School of Mines, with Penn State. It's an important bridge between business and academia, not only for a pipeline of new students or new employees through students, which we do actively with internships, but also on new innovative ways, whether it be from recovery out of like tailings for phosphates, or in the case in our industry, optimizing process steps to lower the cost. At the end of the day, all these industries, you want to set them up that they're world-class, so they compete on a global market.
When I read the research, I was interested. It looked like it might be a way to quick jumpstart the process, because we know how difficult it is to mine in the United States of America. Also, Mr. Evans, if our goal is to encourage domestic mining and refining, how should we structure our production tax credits or price supporting mechanisms so that we don't accidentally re-engineer our dependence on China and we actually do, in real life, incentivize domestic production?
45X was helpful for projects like us. I know that sunsets in the 2030s, but that's certainly an incentive for companies here, just because our operating costs versus the Chinese are always going to be higher. I think price discovery helps in that we need to redefine the narrative and get the financial community also as well to look at those types of things for investment decisions. Things like stockpiling in our industry aren't as necessary, but things like anti-dumping or tariffs, if the Chinese continue to behave this way, are helpful tools in the meantime. I think the complexity around some of the products that we talked about here as well, like today, a lot of the lithium that China has, it's all contained in the batteries. So you can tariff the batteries, which I believe we do, but as processing gets stood up in the U.S., look, we're mainly a chemical company, to be honest with you. If you look at the capital,
I hope we follow your advice on this. So for perhaps all of you, which industries in America are going to collapse first when we run out of rare earths and critical minerals? I mean, who's the canary in the coal mine?
I think the auto industry is uniquely impacted. To build a car, you need 7,000 to 10,000 individual parts. They all have to arrive on time. That any company can assemble an automobile, I think, is a feat of epic proportions. And I think there are so many components within a car
That's why I can't tell who's
that
weakest.
contain magnets, it's enormously challenging. And so I think that's the canary in the coal mine.
Thank you, gentlemen, so much for coming here. And Mr. Chairman, thank you